What's going on, guys? It's Unknown Player here, and today I want to talk about the King's Fall Raid Challenge mode, which is the Warpriest of this week, while also showing you guys the loot I picked up from my runs, which you'll see in the gameplay. So if you didn't already know, the challenge mode in the King's Fall Raid is now live on both normal and hard mode. I already made a video on that with the challenge mode details in it that shows you how to do the actual boss and what you need to do to defeat the Warpriest, and also what loot is available, all the potential things you can get from it. So that video will be linked in the description if you want to check it out. If you already knew that, then you probably know how incredible the loot is that you can actually get from the Warpriest this time. So everyone who does it on hard gets a guaranteed 320 artifact, in addition to a guaranteed 320 weapon, which could be a sniper, rocket launcher, or machine gun from the Warpriest specifically, because those are the only weapons you can get from the Warpriest and his loot tables. On top of that, you also get a guaranteed 310 artifact and a 310 weapon from the normal difficulty, which overlaps into hard if you do it as well. And then you also get the Warpriest loot on top of that, which will be Mouldering Shards, and then another weapon from possibly normal and or hard modes. There is a ton of loot, and that's not even counting the 48th calcified fragment and the emblem you get from the first time you do it. So there is a ton of loot to be able to get from this. A lot of people are divided on what they think about the amount of loot you get. Some people think it's a bit too much and it's too highly leveled for what you're actually doing, which is quite easy, and some people think it's just right and there isn't anything wrong with it. I want you guys to leave a comment down below this video with what you think of the challenge mode loot. Do you like it and you think it's fine, or do you think it's too much for just an easy task and it should be toned down a little bit? I read all my comments, so I really want to see your guys' thoughts, so let's have a discussion about this actual loot. I think anyone can agree that the challenge itself is a massive disappointment. You don't need to do anything different to how you would normally do the Warpriest, and they could have added it without announcing anything and nobody would have even noticed any difference. So the challenge mode and the requirement to do it is not what's up for debate. I think everyone's in agreement that it's a letdown from what we expected challenge mode to be, but what is up for debate, however, is the loot and if it's too much or not. I think I can definitely see both sides and understand the good and the bad parts to this loot, but I must say I'm leaning towards the side that this is good loot, and I'm kind of glad they did it. I think with the Taken King, I feel like there wasn't enough of a drive to reach 320 light, which is the max level, of course, and nobody really cared about being max light throughout the entire Taken King up until now. Like we used to in the Vault of Glass and the Crotazen raid, that was the only thing that anyone cared about. You wanted to hit max light level, and being Forever 29 was trying to get that last bit of 30 gear to try and fill out your character, making the max light level. That was the #1 goal for anyone who did the raids, but I've hardly seen anyone posting about how they're 319 and how they're kind of going on the grind before the challenge mode, because I haven't seen anyone really that bothered about it. I think that's because of two main reasons. Firstly, the endgame raid gear and trials gear that gets you 320 loot and will help you hit the max level, I think is too random and too hard to obtain, and most of the time you end up getting 311 or something you don't even need. And the second reason is that there's no real advantage to being above 310 light anyway. You can do everything in Destiny with ease if you're 310, and the hard mode raid is the only thing you need to be a tiny bit higher for. But even then, you can still complete hard mode with a 310 as long as you have a coordinated team that knows what they're doing. And then once you hit 315, hard mode is super easy, and there's really no difference between being 315 or 320, and everything in the game, it just becomes the same kind of difficulty. So there's not much point in grinding out those last 5 levels, and there's not really much of a goal to hit 320 light. There's no incentive, and that's why I don't think many people are caring much about being 320 max light. And I think in the Vault of Glass there was an enormous power difference between being level 29 and being level 30. Once you were level 30, you were a lot more resistant to damage. I think it was something along the lines of 33%, and you also did a lot more damage to enemies. So it was a real goal to achieve, and that is personally why I like Bungie throwing these guaranteed 320s at us in the Warpriest challenge mode. And next week's Golgoth drops are going to be all armor, so they're guaranteed 320s, and most of us are going to be bumped up to like 318 or 319, and we're going to be nearly completing that 320 light level. And I think it's Bungie's way of seeing that the loot in the raid was way too lacking and way too difficult and RNG based to get, so they decided to speed boost us the rest of the way. So like I said, I don't like how easy the challenge was. I think it was pretty pointless, but I do like how they fixed the lacking loot drops in the raid, and it makes me just want to do the challenge boss 3 times instantly. You get so much better loot from the one single challenge boss than the entire raid and all the bosses combined. So next week I'm definitely just going to hop on, do Golgoth 3 times, and maybe do the rest if I have time. But I'm definitely going to prioritize the challenge mode, and I want to get all the loot from him. But I absolutely love how they made the loot worth it, because we're in 3 months into the Taken King, and there are only like 5 people in the world who actually hit the max light level because of the challenge drops that hit recently. And I think it's pretty crazy that we're nearly 3 months into an expansion and we're only just able to hit max light. So those are my reasons why I think I kind of like the loot drops and why I think they're justified being so high. But like I said, leave your comments down below. Let's have a discussion about the loot. I look forward to reading all your comments and seeing your thoughts. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Give a like rating if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.